Hola, buen dia. We didn't get much work done this week on the house. It was windy and rainy and not good weather for renovation work.
That is correct. Fortunately, a new subscriber, Lorraine, was asking if we had any backstory, how we ended up in Portugal, and property search videos. So we combed through our flash drives, our phones, and iPads, and all that fun stuff, and we put this video together. We met many years ago when we both enjoyed winter and loved skiing. Yeah, we didn't mind being cold then.
No, I didn't mind being cold then. But life happens, and I ended up in Ecuador. It was because the weather was horrible in Canada for a number of summers, and I just got fed up with it and looking for something a little bit warmer. So I ended up in Ecuador, bought some property, built a house. It was pretty remote, so it was really difficult. I didn't have a car. You can't have a car in Ecuador if you don't have your residency. So I had to take the bus everywhere. It was in the middle of nowhere. And residency wasn't so easy. There was a lot of bureaucracy, so it was tough. So I ended up back in Canada after I sold my house.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I had a job offer in St. Martin. So I spent a few years living in the Caribbean, and my dad came and joined me for the winter months. And Grant was actually planning to join me in St. Martin, and he had his flight booked for September of 2017. So instead of starting a new life together in St. Martin, I ended up moving back to Canada.
Neither of us were ready to deal with the Canadian winters. So we spent the winter of, 2017, 18?
Yes.
In Belize.
Yes.
The reef system in Belize is the second largest barrier reef in the world. Australia number one, Belize number two. But because of climate change, apparently Belize's reef is now the largest living barrier reef.
Yes, and they're actually doing a lot to protect their barrier reef. So they have a lot of rules and regulations and conservation efforts in terms of protecting their reef, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So here's some footage from some of the snorkeling that we did there.
We really love Belize, but we wanted to check out other options before making a permanent move.
Yeah, so the following winter, I suggested that we explore Dominica, the nature island, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. They are two separate islands.
Dominica didn't have an international airport at that time, so they couldn't do direct flights out of or back to Canada. So we ended up spending the last week of our winter in St. Martin on the way home.
Yeah, which was nice. I got to show Grant the island and introduce him to my friends. And most of my friends were trying to find us jobs for the whole week because they didn't want us to leave. It's just too expensive in St. Martin, so even if they were successful finding us a job, it just wouldn't have worked out for what we wanted. We both really loved Dominica, but we found it to be more expensive and also harder to get things than in Belize.
Yeah, we we couldn't even find things like olives and pickles. It took us a month just to find them. We ended up going to the capital city to find them, to the biggest grocery store they had. And
Yeah, so we had to take a bus, which in the Caribbean is a van with a license plate that says bus and then the number. And you literally just stand anywhere along the road and you wave the bus down like this, and they stop and pick you up.
Caribbean lady wave.
Yeah, Caribbean lady wave. I can't speak. So yeah, they pick you up and they are packed. Like, you have people practically sitting in your lap on these buses. And it was a 2-hour bus ride.
It was only like $2, wasn't it?
It was like $2. So fairly cheap. It took a good chunk of your day though, because that's 4 hours round trip, plus wandering around the capital city. All for a jar of olives, because we needed to make dirty martinis.
Dirty vodka sake martinis.
They were delicious.
It took us a month to find sake as well.
It did, which we also found in the capital city.
So expensive.
But yeah, so for those reasons, Dominica didn't really make sense for us either. And we decided, we had our hearts set on Belize, and we started to plan a scouting trip for properties. And we actually found 2 properties that we liked during a 10-day scouting trip.
There was one, it was a 51-acre parcel. It was partially cleared, it had some jungle. It was a little above our budget at the time, and it had squatters on it, which are very difficult to get off your land.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have bad blood with the locals, so it was a really nice piece, but it was too many hassles at that point.
Yeah.
So, and then we found a 9.5 acre piece. It was off grid behind an orange orchard, with just at the end, basically at the end of the road. It was a cut through the jungle to the ocean of about 6 kilometers of empty beach.
Yeah.
But super hard to get to. This property had a lot of potential. So we went down in January of 2020.
Yeah.
And put an offer on it.
Yeah. So it was actually a really nice property. It had lots of potential, but it would have been a lot of work because it was jungle. It needed to be cleared. We needed to build a road, and it had no infrastructure, but we thought it would be worth it.
Unfortunately, when the pandemic hit, the deal fell through.
Yeah. So, and then shortly after the deal fell through, the monthly visa extensions increased in price, like they quadrupled in price. And we were also getting firsthand accounts of daily life and the struggles to get residency there from our friends. So it should take 1 to 2 years to get residency, but it's more like 5. And that's 5 years that you are not working. You're not able to work because you don't have residency, but you can't leave or the process starts over.
Right. So we decided to compromise on climate for better infrastructure, stability, and ease of residency.
Yes. So with my Swiss citizenship, we decided to start looking at Europe.
We looked at Malta, southern Italy, and Portugal, and we were looking for a simpler life, lower cost of living, obviously, a warmer climate than Canada. What?
I'm laughing because that's not that hard.
Good land for agriculture, or had to be able to grow our gardens on.
Yeah.
Good beaches and ease of residency.
Yeah. Portugal seemed to fit all of our requirements, so we started planning our move. And we ended up arriving about a month after some friends from St. Martin. So they picked us up from the airport and we ended up staying with them when we first arrived. And I had my residency within a couple of weeks of our arrival. So that went very smoothly. It was easy. His residency, on the other hand, not so much. So, because of delays with government processes everywhere, as well as the immigration department here is in the process of being dismantled and replaced with a new department since before we arrived, it's pretty much impossible to get appointments for family reunification. Yeah, hopefully we made some progress this week, but we'll find out.
I'm an illegal alien.
Which is what we're hoping to avoid by coming here. But say la vie.
Yeah. We found a house fairly quickly after what?
Like a month of negotiating?
Yeah, about a month of negotiating. We signed a promissory contract and put a deposit down.
Yeah. All right, so that's the driveway to our new house. And a wood storage shed here with a bit of firewood here. All right, and now we're going into like a little patio area in between the house and an outbuilding. And behind me here, we have what we think is a plum tree. All right, so this is the kitchen. The electricity isn't hooked up yet, but once we have the electricity hooked up, we're going to see if the freezer works. Okay. And this hallway goes towards the bathroom, which I already started cleaning. So far, I've just gotten the cobwebs off of the ceiling. Okay, this heads into the living room area and the front door. Now the wall behind this chair here is not really a wall. It's literally just a thin piece of board. So that is coming out. And I'll open up this space and create a bigger living room. And we have one of the bedrooms here with furniture. So we don't have to buy stuff right away. I can probably clean this up. Going back out through the living room. And the next bedroom is here. So we have 2 bedrooms. And this one looks into what will be our courtyard. As usual, I'm taking video after I start doing something because I never remember to start videoing first. Okay, so I've brushed the doors. I'm gonna get closer here for you so you can see all the holes. So we have bugs eating the wood. And I got stuff to treat it with, but when I started brushing towards the bottom of this door to the bedroom, this whole piece just disintegrated and it just keeps falling apart. So I'm going to replace the bedroom door with this one because we were planning to remove this one anyway. It goes from the hallway to the living room. So I don't really have a use for a door there. But it's good actually because we had the one door has more damage here. So I can just use this one to replace it and we're good. So that's what I'm working on now. And of course, the one in the hallway didn't have a key. And I don't know if anybody ever wants to lock the bedroom door. I'm just going to switch the handle over to this one. And then that way you can lock it. And we're getting rid of one that's missing the key. It was more complicated because the property was not registered properly. So the purchase was contingent on the sellers getting a habitation license for the house and registering the land articles. In the meantime, we had permission to go in and clean and make repairs so that the house was livable.
Well, we thought we had permission.
Well, we did. We had it in writing.
Right.
And that was part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a week after we started cleaning and making repairs, the sellers backed out of the deal. So, cautionary tale, if you're looking at a property that does not have habitation license, be very, very cautious. I do not recommend it.
Yeah. We started property searching again and looked at numerous houses.
Okay, well, I thought this was a cute place and definitely an option until you reach this point. I can see light coming through the crack on the wall and the floor is sloping down. So probably not a good sign.
For some reason, the roof is leaking up there. I don't know if the chimney is separated
Okay,
from the wall.
right. And that's what I said, that it's leaking or was leaking, but you said it's wet.
There's water in there. It's coming down here from, I think, the chimney.
Okay, wait, I'm coming with the camera. So show me.
Well, look at the water down there.
Well, yeah, I see. Oh, yeah, it's actually
So it's
wet on the
leaking
floor.
down the wall there. Looks like probably from the chimney up here. You can see through the almost window.
goes up at the top to about the middle of the doorway. And one at the top there. Down here, and it's like, yeah, the only one in our budget that we looked at that didn't have structural damage, and the view is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that this was the one, and the rest is history. So that brings you up to date to our first video, which will be linked in the description.
You went up, I went down.
So
You went down, I
went down.
Right.
Oh, that didn't sound good.
Went down,
I went down. Oh dear. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and please give it a like. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay, bye.